The question that changed everything. The rain battered against the emergency room windows like fists demanding entry. Emma Rodriguez pulled her scrub sleeves down, suddenly cold despite the hospital's stale warmth. 4 years of nursing had taught her to read people quickly, but the man in room 7 made her pause. Julian Blackstone lay on the examination table, his torn suit soaked with rain and streaked with blood from the accident. Even injured, he radiated something sharp and untouchable. Money, power, distance. "Good evening," Emma said, keeping her voice soft. "I'm Emma. I need to check your vitals and give you something for the pain." "No." His eyes opened. Blue like winter ice, like something beautiful and dangerous all at once. Emma's breath stuttered in her chest. "Will it hurt?" he asked. The vulnerability in those 3 words cracked something in the air between them. Emma prepared the injection, her hands steady from years of practice. "Just a pinch. What's your name?" "Julian Blackstone." She didn't recognize it. To her, he was just another patient who needed care. As the needle slid into his arm, Julian stared at her face, searching for something he'd stopped believing existed. "All done," Emma said, disposing of the needle. "How do you feel?" "Better." He wasn't lying, but not about the pain. About the way she looked at him without calculation, without hunger. "Have you worked here long?" 4 years. "Do you have family we should call? A wife? No wife? My family is busy with more important things." The bitterness in his voice made Emma pause. She met his eyes directly. That must be lonely. Julian felt something twist in his chest. When was the last time someone had looked at him like this? Like he was human, not a transaction? "What would you do if you were in my position?" he asked. "I'd call my mom. She'd take 2 buses to get here, even if it meant missing work." 2 buses? "We live in Riverside. No car, but we show up when it matters." Julian closed his eyes. $12 billion in assets, and this woman with nothing had just shown him what he'd been missing his entire life. "Nurse Rodriguez!" Dr. Martinez called from outside. "Room 3 needs you." "I have to go," Emma said. "I'll check on you in an hour." As she walked away, Julian knew something fundamental had shifted. This wasn't just attraction. It was recognition. She had seen past everything he'd built to protect himself, and now he couldn't unsee what his life had been missing. When Emma returned an hour later, Julian was awake, waiting. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "Better. Because of you." He sat up slowly. "Can I ask you something personal?" Emma nodded, cautious but curious. "Why did you become a nurse?" No one ever asked her that. "My younger brother had breathing problems. We spent years in hospitals. The nurses didn't just help him. They gave our whole family hope. I wanted to be that for someone else." "Is he okay now?" "He's in college. Computer science. He's brilliant. And you're paying for it." Emma didn't flinch. "My mom, my sister, and I split the costs. It's worth it." Julian absorbed this like a punch. In his world, education was expected. Here, it was a sacrifice that required 3 people working themselves raw. "What about you?" Emma asked. "What do you do?" "I run companies. Technology, real estate, investments." He paused. "Most of it I inherited from my father." "Do you enjoy it?" The question stunned him. "I don't know. I never thought I had a choice." "That sounds exhausting." "It is." Dr. Martinez appeared at the curtain. "Mr. Blackstone can be discharged if he's feeling well enough." Julian didn't want to leave. Didn't want this to end. "Are you ready to go home?" Emma asked. "I think so." She handed him the discharge papers. "Rest for 48 hours. If you feel dizzy or nauseous, come back immediately." "What if I have other questions?" "Call the hospital." "What if I want to ask you specifically?" Emma felt her heart kick against her ribs. There was something magnetic about this man. Something that both pulled her in and warned her away. "I work Monday through Friday. 7 to 7. Julian smiled, and Emma felt the world tilt. "Thank you, Emma. For everything." As he walked toward the exit, Emma knew she was in trouble. This man, whoever he really was, had looked at her like she mattered. And that was the most dangerous thing of all. 3 days later, Emma was checking inventory when her name echoed over the intercom. At reception, Julian stood holding his left hand, wrapped in a blood-soaked bandage. "Julian," she said, rushing forward. "What happened?" "Kitchen accident. Apparently I'm terrible at cooking." Emma unwrapped the bandage. The cut was deep, clean, and absolutely did not look accidental. She could smell his cologne, something dark and expensive that made her want to lean closer. "This needs stitches. Come with me." As they walked to an empty room, his fingers brushed hers, reaching for the door. Electricity shot through her entire body. Julian's eyes widened. He'd felt it too. "So you decided to try cooking?" Emma asked, preparing the suturing kit with shaking hands. "I live alone. Got tired of takeout every night." He watched her thread the needle. "Clearly I need lessons. This will need about 6 stitches. It might sting." "Will it hurt?" Julian asked, his voice low and intimate. Emma looked up. The air between them crackled with something inevitable. "You already know the answer to that." She leaned in to begin the first stitch. Julian's free hand caught her wrist, stopping her completely. "Emma." His thumb traced a slow circle on her skin. Every professional boundary she'd ever maintained dissolved like sugar in rain. "I should," she started, but couldn't finish. "I know," he whispered, releasing her. "I'm sorry." Emma's hands trembled as she stitched, hyper-aware of every breath he took, every shift of his body. The silence between them was thick with unspoken desire and dangerous possibility. "There," she said, stepping back quickly. "Keep it dry for 48 hours. Change the dressing daily." Julian stood, moving closer. "Emma, I need to tell you something. The real reason I came back wasn't the cut." Her heart hammered. "Julian, don't. I haven't been able to stop thinking about you, about how you looked at me like I mattered." "You're a patient," Emma said weakly, even as her body refused to move away. "This is inappropriate. Is it? Or is it the first real thing either of us has felt in years?" The confession hung between them like smoke. Emma knew she should walk away, protect herself from the inevitable heartbreak. Instead, she took a step closer. "You don't understand. We're from completely different worlds. I take the bus to work and share a tiny apartment with my sister. You think I care about that? You don't know who I am," Julian said, his voice turning dark. "If you did, you'd run. Then tell me." Julian studied her face for a long moment. "My family owns Blackstone Industries. Hotels, real estate, technology. We're worth about $12 billion. Emma's eyes widened. She'd seen that name on buildings across the city. "I don't care about your money." "Everyone cares about my money. It's the only thing people see. Not me." "I know," Julian said, reaching up to touch her cheek. "That's what scares me." Emma closed her eyes, leaning into his hand despite every rational thought screaming at her to stop. When she opened them, Julian was inches away, his gaze dropping to her lips. "Julian," she breathed. It was both a warning and an invitation. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Emma jumped back as Dr. Martinez appeared. "How's our patient, Nurse Rodriguez?" "All stitched up. Ready to go." "Excellent. Mr. Blackstone, follow up with your regular physician in a week." "Of course." After Dr. Martinez left, silence stretched between them like a wire pulled too tight. "I should go," Julian said, but didn't move. "Yes, you should." "Will you have dinner with me?" Emma's breath caught. "Julian, I can't. This is crazy." "Crazy can be good. Not for people like me. I don't take risks. Can't afford to. What if I told you this feels like the first real thing that's happened to me in my entire life?" Emma stared at him, seeing past the confidence to the raw vulnerability beneath. "One dinner," she heard herself say. "Somewhere quiet. Nowhere fancy." Julian's face transformed with a smile that made her heart stop. "I know just the place." The weight of secrets. 2 nights later, Emma sat across from Julian in a small Italian restaurant in her neighborhood. He wore jeans and a sweater instead of a suit, but still looked like he belonged somewhere else. Somewhere better. "You chose this place on purpose," Emma said, looking at the checkered tablecloths and families crowding the booths. "I wanted you to be comfortable." "And you? Are you comfortable?" Julian glanced around at the noise, the laughter, the warmth of people who actually knew each other. "I don't remember the last time I ate anywhere like this. My dinners are usually business meetings in private rooms." "That sounds lonely." "It is." He reached across the table, his fingers stopping just short of hers. But this feels real. Emma's hand moved forward, closing the distance. Their fingers intertwined, and she felt that same electric current from the hospital. Stronger now. More dangerous. "Tell me something true," Julian said. "Something you've never told anyone." Emma hesitated. "Sometimes I resent it. Taking care of everyone. Being the responsible one. My mom works 2 jobs. My sister is barely holding it together, and I'm putting my brother through college while living paycheck to paycheck." She looked away, ashamed. "What kind of person thinks like that?" "An honest one." Julian squeezed her hand. "You're allowed to want more for yourself. What about you?" "What do you want?" Julian's jaw tightened. "To disappear. To stop being Julian Blackstone and just be Julian. But that's impossible when your face is on magazine covers, and every decision you make affects thousands of people. Is that why you came back to the hospital? To pretend you were someone else? I came back because you're the first person who's looked at me and seen me. Not my bank account, not my last name. Me." The waiter brought their food, breaking the intensity of the moment. They ate slowly, talking about everything and nothing. Emma told him about her childhood, about raising her brother after their father left. Julian spoke carefully about his own family, about a mother who cared more about social standing than her son, about a father who had turned him into a business asset before he turned 10. "Do you hate him?" Emma asked. "I hate what he made me become. Cold, calculating, incapable of trusting anyone. You trusted me?" "I did." "I do." Julian's eyes locked on hers. "And that terrifies me." They left the restaurant and walked through the neighborhood, the autumn air cool against their skin. Julian's hand found hers naturally, and Emma wondered when this had stopped feeling wrong and started feeling inevitable. "This is me," Emma said, stopping in front of a small apartment building with chipped paint and a flickering porch light. Julian looked at the building, then at her. "Can I see you again?" "Julian, we need to be realistic. This can't go anywhere. We're too different. What if I don't care about realistic? Then you're not thinking clearly. Or maybe I'm thinking clearly for the first time in my life." Emma felt tears prick her eyes. "You're going to break my heart. You know that, right? What if you break mine first?" The vulnerability in his voice undid her. She reached up, touching his face, feeling the stubble rough against her palm. "One more date," she whispered. "Then we'll see." Julian leaned down, his forehead resting against hers. One more date. He didn't kiss her. They both knew that once they crossed that line, there would be no going back. The next week passed in a blur of stolen moments. Coffee before Emma's shift, lunch in the hospital cafeteria, where Julian pretended to be a pharmaceutical sales rep. Late-night phone calls that stretched until dawn. They were falling, fast and hard, into something neither could control. Then came the night that changed everything. Emma was leaving the hospital when she saw Julian's car in the parking lot. She approached, smiling, ready to surprise him. But through the window, she saw he wasn't alone. A woman sat in the passenger seat. Beautiful, elegant, wearing diamonds that caught the streetlight. She was laughing at something Julian said, her hand on his arm, familiar and possessive. Emma felt her world crack down the middle. She turned and walked away quickly, her vision blurring with tears. Behind her, she heard a car door slam. "Emma, wait!" She kept walking faster now, heading toward the bus stop. "Emma, please!" Julian caught her arm, spinning her around. His face was panicked, desperate. "Who was that?" Emma asked, her voice shaking. "My ex-fiancé, Victoria." The word fiancé hit Emma like a physical blow. "You were engaged?" 2 years ago, it ended badly. She's been trying to get back together, and tonight she showed up at my office. And I couldn't just leave her on the street, so I drove her home. And I swear nothing happened. Stop. Emma pulled her arm free. "You should have told me." "I know. I was going to, but what? You thought I wouldn't find out? That your entire life wouldn't come crashing into this fantasy we've been living?" "It's not a fantasy to me." "Yes, it is." Emma's voice broke. "This whole thing is a fantasy. You playing at being normal, me pretending we could actually work. But you have an ex-fiancé who looks like a supermodel, and I share a bathroom with 3 other people. We were kidding ourselves." Emma, I'm falling in love with you. The words hung in the air between them, raw and terrifying. Emma felt her heart shatter. Please don't say that. Why not? It's true. Because it makes this harder. Tears streamed down her face now. Because I'm falling in love with you too, and it's the stupidest thing I've ever done. Julian reached for her, but she stepped back. I need time, she said. I need to think. How much time? I don't know. Just I can't do this right now. She turned and ran for the bus that was pulling up to the stop. Julian stood in the parking lot, watching her leave, feeling like he'd just lost the only real thing he'd ever had. 3 days passed. Emma didn't return Julian's calls or texts. She threw herself into work, taking extra shifts, avoiding the emergency room entrance where he might be waiting. But on the 4th day, she came home to find him sitting on the steps of her building. He looked terrible, exhausted, unshaven, like he hadn't slept in days. What are you doing here? She asked. Waiting for you. He stood slowly. Emma, I need you to understand something. Victoria means nothing to me. That engagement was arranged by our families. A business merger disguised as a relationship. I ended it because I couldn't spend my life with someone I didn't love. And now I've met you. And I finally understand what love is supposed to feel like. Julian, I'm not finished. His voice was rough, desperate. I know I come with complications. I know my life is messy and public and nothing like what you're used to, but I'm asking you to take a chance on me anyway. On us. Emma felt her resolve crumbling. What if it doesn't work? What if it does? She looked at him, really looked at him, and saw the same fear and hope reflected in his eyes that she felt in her own heart. I'm scared, she whispered. Me too. Julian closed the distance between them, his hands cupping her face gently. Can I kiss you now? Or do you need more time? Emma's answer was to pull him down to her, their lips meeting in a kiss that felt like falling and flying all at once. All the restraint, all the careful distance they'd maintained, shattered. Julian's arms wrapped around her, pulling her closer, and Emma felt like she was finally home. When they pulled apart, both breathing hard, Julian rested his forehead against hers. Stay with me tonight, Emma whispered. My sister is at her boyfriend's place. Are you sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. They stumbled up the stairs to her apartment, unable to stop touching each other, years of loneliness and fear dissolving with every kiss. Emma unlocked the door with shaking hands, and Julian followed her inside, kicking it shut behind them. The apartment was small, cluttered with second-hand furniture, and evidence of 3 people sharing too little space. Julian didn't care. All he saw was Emma, backlit by the kitchen light, looking at him like he was everything. I've never done this, Emma said suddenly. Brought someone home like this. We don't have to. I want to. God, Julian, I want to so badly. But I need you to know this means something to me. You mean something to me. You mean everything to me. They came together again, slower this time, savoring every touch, every whispered word. Julian memorized the geography of her body, the way she gasped when he kissed her neck, the way her fingers dug into his shoulders. Emma discovered that beneath the expensive clothes, Julian was just a man, vulnerable and hungry and desperate to be known. Hours later, they lay tangled in Emma's small bed, the city sounds drifting through the thin walls. Julian traced patterns on Emma's bare shoulder, and she pressed closer to him, feeling safer than she'd ever felt. I need to tell you something, Julian said quietly. Emma's heart sank. Nothing good ever followed those words. What is it? There's a board meeting next week. My mother is trying to force me into a merger with Victoria's family's company. The only way to stop it is to prove I'm in a committed relationship with someone else. Emma sat up, pulling the sheet around her. So that's what this is? I'm your escape plan? No, God, no. Emma, I swear that's not. Then why are you telling me this now? After we just... Her voice broke. Was any of this real? All of it was real. Is real. Julian sat up, reaching for her hand. I'm telling you because I don't want secrets between us. And because my mother is going to find out about you. And when she does, she's going to come after you. She's going to try to buy you off, threaten you, whatever it takes to get you out of my life. Why would she do that? Because you're not part of the plan. You're not from the right family, the right background. To her, you're a threat. Emma felt cold despite the warmth of the room. Maybe she's right. Maybe I am a threat to your perfect life. My life has never been perfect. It's been a prison. Until I met you. Emma wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him so badly. But the timing, the revelation, everything felt calculated now. I think you should go, she said quietly. Emma, please. I need to think, really think, about whether I can handle what being with you means. Julian dressed slowly, and Emma watched from the bed, memorizing every line of his body, terrified it might be the last time she saw him like this. At the door, he turned back. I love you. I know it's too soon and too complicated, but I love you, and I'll wait as long as you need. After he left, Emma buried her face in her pillow, which still smelled like his cologne. She'd thought the hardest part would be falling in love with him. She was wrong. The hardest part was deciding if she was brave enough to keep him. The breaking point, Emma stared at the woman standing in the hospital lobby. She was everything Emma wasn't. Tall, polished, wearing a cream suit that probably cost more than Emma's monthly salary. Her blonde hair fell in perfect waves, and her smile was as sharp as a knife. You must be Emma Rodriguez, the woman said, extending a manicured hand. I'm Catherine Blackstone, Julian's mother. Emma's stomach dropped. She'd been expecting this, but not here, not at work where she had nowhere to hide. Mrs. Blackstone, can I help you with something? Let's talk somewhere private, shall we? It wasn't a question. They ended up in an empty conference room. Catherine sat with the posture of someone accustomed to being obeyed, her gaze dissecting Emma like a specimen under glass. I'll be direct, Catherine said. You're sleeping with my son. Emma felt her face flush. That's none of your business. Everything involving my son is my business, especially when it threatens everything our family has built. Catherine opened her purse and pulled out a checkbook. How much do you want? Excuse me? To walk away, to disappear from Julian's life. Name your price. 50,000? 100? I can have it wired to your account this afternoon. Emma stood up, her hands shaking with rage. I'm not for sale. Everyone has a price, Miss Rodriguez. Yours is probably lower than most. Catherine's eyes flicked over Emma's scrubs with barely concealed contempt. You're a nurse. You live in Riverside. Your mother cleans houses, your sister is unemployed, and you're drowning in your brother's student loans. I could make all those problems disappear. Get out. 200,000, Catherine said calmly. Final offer. Take it or I'll destroy you. I'll have you fired. I'll make sure no hospital in this state will hire you. I'll dig into every aspect of your life until I find something, anything, to use against you. Emma's vision blurred with tears of fury. Does Julian know you're here? Julian is confused. He thinks he loves you, but what he's really feeling is the novelty of slumming it with someone so far beneath his station. It will pass. These things always do. You're wrong about him. About us. Am I? Catherine stood, smoothing her skirt. Here's what's going to happen. In 3 days, there's a charity gala. Julian will attend with Victoria as his date. They'll announce their engagement, and you'll watch it happen, realizing you were nothing but a brief distraction. He would never do that. He will if he wants to keep his position as CEO. He will if he wants to protect the company his father built. He will because at the end of the day, duty always wins. Catherine moved toward the door, then paused. You seem like a nice girl, Emma. Don't make this harder on yourself. Take the money and find someone from your own world. After she left, Emma collapsed into a chair, her entire body shaking. She wanted to call Julian, to demand the truth, but fear paralyzed her. What if his mother was right? What if Julian chose his family, his company, his entire life over her. She didn't have to wait long for her answer. That evening, Emma's sister showed her a gossip website on her phone. There was Julian, in a tuxedo, with Victoria on his arm at some pre-gala event. They were smiling, looking like they belonged together. The headline read, "Blackstone heir reconciles with ex-fiancé. Wedding bells. Soon?" Emma felt like she'd been punched in the chest. Her phone buzzed. Julian's name appeared on the screen. She let it go to voicemail. It buzzed again. And again. Finally, she turned it off. The next 2 days were torture. Emma went through the motions at work, numb and hollow. Julian showed up at the hospital, but she refused to see him. He waited in the parking lot, but she left through a different exit. His texts piled up, unread. On the night of the gala, Emma sat in her apartment, staring at the live stream on her laptop. She hated herself for watching, but she couldn't look away. There was Julian, devastatingly handsome in a tuxedo, standing next to Victoria. The cameras loved them. The commentators speculated about their relationship. Emma's heart splintered with every frame. Then Julian stepped up to the microphone. "Thank you all for coming tonight," he said, his voice echoing through the ballroom. "I have an announcement to make." Emma held her breath. This was it, the moment she'd been dreading. "I'm resigning as CEO of Blackstone Industries." Gasps rippled through the crowd. The camera caught Catherine's face, frozen in shock. "For years, I've lived the life my family expected of me. I've made the right deals, attended the right events, dated the right people. But I've been miserable. And recently, I met someone who showed me what it means to actually live, to care about something beyond profit margins and stock prices." Emma's hands flew to her mouth. "Her name is Emma Rodriguez. She's a nurse. She's brilliant, compassionate, and completely out of my league. And my family has spent the past week trying to destroy her because she doesn't fit into their world." The camera panned to Catherine, her face a mask of fury. "So I'm making a choice," Julian continued. "I'm walking away from all of this. The company, the fortune, the expectations, because none of it means anything without her." He looked directly into the camera, and Emma felt like he was looking right at her. "Emma, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough to tell my mother to go to hell the first time she threatened you. I'm sorry I let you think, even for a second, that I would choose this life over you. I love you, and I'm choosing you, always." He removed his cufflinks, the Blackstone family crest glinting under the lights, and set them on the podium. Then he walked off the stage, leaving chaos in his wake. Emma was sobbing now, her heart racing. Her phone, which she'd turned back on, immediately started ringing. Julian's name flashed on the screen. "Where are you?" she asked, her voice breaking. "In a cab, coming to you." "Emma, I'm so sorry." "Shut up and drive faster." She heard him laugh, a sound of pure relief. "I'll be there in 10 minutes. Emma ran down the stairs, not bothering with a jacket despite the cold. She stood on the sidewalk, watching for his car, her entire body trembling with anticipation and fear and hope. When the cab pulled up, Julian threw money at the driver and stumbled out, still in his tuxedo. They collided in the middle of the sidewalk, Emma throwing herself into his arms, both of them crying and laughing and holding each other like they'd never let go. "You really did it," Emma said against his chest. "You really walked away. I told you, you're the first real thing I've ever had. I'm not losing you. Your mother is going to kill you. Probably, but I don't care." He pulled back, cupping her face in his hands. "I have some money set aside. Not billions, but enough. I'll find work. We'll figure it out together." "Julian, you can't just give up everything for me. Watch me." He kissed her, deep and desperate, and Emma felt every doubt, every fear, dissolve. This was real. He was choosing her, publicly, irrevocably. They went upstairs to her apartment, unable to stop touching each other, needing the physical confirmation that this was happening. Julian shed his tuxedo piece by piece, and Emma helped him, laughing when his bow tie wouldn't cooperate. "I've never seen you this happy," she said. "I've never been this free." They made love slowly, tenderly, sealing the choice they'd made. Afterward, lying tangled together in Emma's small bed, Julian played with her hair. "What happens now?" Emma asked. "I don't know. I've never not had a plan before." "That's terrifying. It's exhilarating." Emma's phone buzzed on the nightstand. She glanced at it and froze. "What is it?" Julian asked. "Victoria. She wants to meet me. Tomorrow. Says she has something I need to know about you." Julian's body went rigid. "Don't go." "Why not?" "Because she's going to try to poison you against me. That's what she does. She manipulates people." "Then come with me." "Emma. If we're doing this, if we're really building a life together, I need to know everything. No more secrets." Julian was quiet for a long moment. "Okay, we'll go together." But Emma saw the flash of panic in his eyes. And for the first time since he'd walked off that stage, she felt a sliver of doubt work its way back into her heart. The next morning, they met Victoria at an upscale cafe that Emma would never have entered on her own. Victoria looked immaculate in a silk blouse and tailored pants, her smile predatory. "Emma, Julian, how domestic." She sipped her coffee delicately. "I saw your little performance last night, Julian. Very dramatic. What do you want, Victoria?" Julian asked, his voice cold. To give Emma some context, you see, Julian has a habit of playing the tortured hero. He did the same thing with me 2 years ago. Swept me off my feet, promised me the world, then disappeared when things got complicated. "That's not what happened," Julian said. "Isn't it?" Victoria's eyes locked on Emma's. "Did he tell you why we really broke up?" "Because the engagement was arranged," Emma said. "Because he didn't love you." Partially true. But what he didn't tell you is that I got pregnant. Emma felt the world stop spinning. "Victoria, don't," Julian started. But she cut him off. "I had a miscarriage at 12 weeks. Julian wasn't there. He was too busy with a business deal in Tokyo. When I called him crying, begging him to come home, do you know what he said?" Emma couldn't breathe. He said, "Maybe it's for the best." And that's when I knew he was incapable of actually loving anyone. Emma turned to Julian, searching his face. "Is that true?" Julian's eyes were filled with anguish. "It's more complicated than that. Is it true?" "Yes," he whispered. "I said that. But Emma, you have to understand. I was 24 and terrified, and I wasn't ready to be a father." Emma stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. Everyone in the cafe turned to look. "I need to go." "Emma, wait." But she was already walking out, her vision blurred with tears. Julian followed her onto the street, grabbing her arm. "Let me explain," he begged. "What's there to explain? You just proved that you're exactly what your mother said you were. Someone who runs when things get hard. That was 2 years ago. I was different then." "Were you?" Emma's voice rose. "Because you literally just ran away from your entire life rather than fight for it. That's not bravery, Julian. That's cowardice with a romantic spin." The words hit Julian like physical blows. "You don't mean that, don't I?" Emma pulled her arm free. "You walked away from your company, your family, everything you've ever known. And part of me is terrified that one day, when this gets hard, you'll walk away from me too. Never. Emma, I swear. You swore to Victoria too, didn't you? Before you told her losing your child was for the best." Julian flinched. "That's not fair. None of this is fair." Emma was crying now, unable to stop. "I fell in love with you, and now I'm realizing I don't actually know who you are. The real you, the one who says cruel things when he's scared." "Then let me show you," Julian said desperately. "Give me a chance to prove I've changed. I can't think about this right now." Emma stepped back, creating distance. "I need space. How much space?" "I don't know." She walked away, leaving Julian standing on the sidewalk, watching another person he loved disappear from his life. But this time it hurt 1,000 times worse, because this time he'd actually had something worth keeping. Emma made it 3 blocks before she had to stop, leaning against a building, sobbing. A part of her wanted to run back to him, to forgive him, to pretend Victoria's words hadn't changed everything. But she couldn't unhear them. Couldn't unsee the look on Julian's face when he admitted the truth. Her phone rang. Not Julian. Her mother. Mija, I just saw the news. Is it true? You're dating Julian Blackstone? Emma closed her eyes. Of course the media had identified her. She was about to become the most talked about woman in the city. The nurse who stole the billionaire. It's complicated, Mama. Come home. We need to talk. An hour later, Emma sat in her mother's small kitchen, the same table where she'd done homework as a child, where they'd celebrated every small victory. Her mother set tea in front of her, then sat down, taking Emma's hands. Tell me everything. Emma did. All of it. The hospital, the dinners, falling in love, Catherine's threats, Julian's sacrifice, Victoria's revelation. By the end, she was crying again, and her mother pulled her close. What do I do? Emma whispered. Do you love him? Yes, God help me, yes. Does he love you? I think so, but maybe love isn't enough. Her mother pulled back, meeting Emma's eyes. Your father loved me, but when things got hard, when money was tight and life was messy, he left. Love wasn't enough to make him stay. I'm scared Julian will do the same thing. Maybe he will. Her mother's voice was gentle but honest. Or maybe he won't. But Emma, you can't live your life afraid of being hurt. That's not living at all. What if I give him another chance and he breaks my heart? Then you'll survive it. You're stronger than you think. Emma sat with those words for a long moment. Then her phone buzzed. A text from Julian. I know you need space. I'm respecting that, but I need you to know something. What I said to Victoria was the worst thing I've ever said to anyone. I've regretted it every day since. I was cruel because I was scared, and that's no excuse. You're right to question whether I'll run when things get hard. All I can do is promise that I'm working on being better, on being worthy of you. Take all the time you need. I'll be here. I love you. Emma showed the text to her mother. What does your heart tell you? Her mother asked. That I want to believe him. That I want this to work so badly it scares me. Then maybe that's your answer. Emma stared at the text for a long time. Then she started typing. Meet me tomorrow. Same place we had our first date. We need to talk. Julian's response came immediately. I'll be there. Emma put her phone down, feeling exhausted and terrified, and underneath it all, a small flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, they could find their way through this. But as she lay in bed that night, unable to sleep, she couldn't shake Victoria's words from her mind, or the fear that loving Julian Blackstone might be the biggest mistake of her life. The sacrifice. The Italian restaurant felt different this time, colder, despite the warm lighting and the smell of garlic bread. Emma arrived first, her hands shaking as she ordered water. When Julian walked in, she barely recognized him. He looked hollow. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, his usual confidence replaced by something raw and uncertain. He sat down across from her, and they stared at each other for a long moment. Thank you for coming, Julian said quietly. I needed to see you, to hear the whole truth. No more secrets. Julian nodded, his jaw tight. What do you want to know? Everything about Victoria, about the pregnancy, about why you really said what you said. He took a deep breath, his hands clenching on the table. Victoria and I were engaged because it made business sense. Our families had been planning it since we were teenagers. I went along with it because that's what I did. I followed the plan. But you slept with her. Yes. We had a relationship. It wasn't love, but it was something. And when she told me she was pregnant, I panicked. I was 24, barely running one division of the company, and the thought of being trapped forever terrified me. Emma's chest tightened, but she stayed quiet. When she miscarried, I was in Tokyo closing a deal worth $500 million. She called me crying and I froze. I didn't know what to say, so I said the worst possible thing, that maybe it was for the best, that we weren't ready. Did you mean it? Julian's voice cracked. In that moment? I don't know. Maybe. but the second I hung up, I knew I'd destroyed something I could never fix. I flew back immediately, but Victoria wouldn't see me. 2 days later, she broke off the engagement. I never told my family the real reason why. Why are you telling me this now? Because you deserve to know who I was. The selfish, terrified boy who said cruel things because he didn't know how to handle real emotions. His eyes met hers, filled with anguish. And because I need you to decide if you can love who I'm trying to become. Emma felt tears slide down her cheeks. I don't know if I can trust you. I know. Every time things get hard, I'm going to wonder if you'll run. If you'll say something cruel because you're scared. I probably will get scared, Julian admitted. But I swear to God, Emma, I will never run from you. I walked away from billions of dollars to be with you. That has to mean something. Or it means you're romanticizing this, playing the hero in a story that's going to end badly. Julian reached across the table, stopping just short of touching her hand. Tell me what you need. Tell me how to prove this is real. Emma thought about it for a long time. I need you to fight. Not by running away from your family and your life, but by standing up to them, by building something new that doesn't involve burning everything down. What do you mean? Your mother threatened to fire me, to destroy my career, and your response was to resign. But that doesn't solve anything. She still has all the power. She can still hurt me whenever she wants. Julian's eyes widened as understanding dawned. You want me to fight her for the company. I want you to stop running. From her, from your responsibilities, from everything that scares you. I want you to prove you can handle the hard parts of life without destroying everything in your path. What if I can't win? Then at least you'll know you tried. And so will I. Julian sat back, processing. If I go back, fight for the CEO position, it's going to get ugly. My mother will come after both of us even harder. I know. She'll drag you through the media. Your life will become public property. I know. And there's a real chance I could lose. That I could end up with nothing. Emma finally reached out, taking his hand. Then we'll have nothing together. But at least we'll have each other. Julian's fingers tightened around hers. You're sure about this? No, I'm terrified. But I'd rather be terrified with you than safe without you. I love you so much it scares me. Good. You should be scared. I'm about to make your life very complicated. Julian laughed. A real laugh that made him look younger, lighter. It's already complicated, but it's the best kind of complicated I've ever had. They left the restaurant hand in hand, ready to face whatever came next, but neither of them realized just how brutal the fight would become. The next morning, Julian held a press conference. Emma stood beside him, her hospital scrubs replaced by a simple dress Julian had bought her. The cameras flashed, reporters shouted questions, and Emma felt like she was drowning in attention. I'm here to announce that I'm challenging my mother's decision to remove me as CEO, Julian said, his voice strong and clear. I built half of what Blackstone Industries is today. I've earned my position and I'm not walking away. What about your relationship with Emma Rodriguez? A reporter shouted. Emma and I are together. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me directly. Catherine Blackstone's response came within hours. A statement through her lawyers, claiming Julian was mentally unstable, that his relationship with Emma had compromised his judgment, that he was unfit to lead the company. The media firestorm was instant and brutal. Emma's life was picked apart online. Her apartment building was swarmed with photographers. Her family received threatening calls. Someone leaked her financial records, showing her student loan debt, her mother's employment history, every private detail of their struggling existence. I can't do this, Emma said, standing in Julian's penthouse apartment where she'd been hiding for 3 days. This is destroying my family. We knew it would get bad, Julian said, though his face was drawn with guilt. Not this bad. My mom got fired because paparazzi kept showing up at her client's house. My brother is getting harassed at school. My sister is having panic attacks. I'll pay for everything. Your mom's lost wages, therapy for your sister, whatever they need. That's not the point. Emma's voice rose. The point is that being with you is hurting the people I love. Julian looked like she'd slapped him. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe your mother was right. Maybe we're from worlds too different to ever work. No, Emma, no. We can get through this. At what cost? My family's peace? Their safety? My entire life being dissected for entertainment? I'll fix this. I'll make them stop. How? By paying them off? By threatening them? That's exactly what your mother would do. The accusation hung between them like poison. Julian's face went pale. I'm not her. Aren't you? You're using money to solve problems just like she does. The only difference is you think you're one of the good guys. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair. Emma was crying now, frustrated and exhausted. I love you. God, I love you so much. But I can't watch my family suffer because of it. Julian grabbed her shoulders gently. Then marry me. Emma froze. What? Marry me. Right now. Today. If we're married, it becomes harder for my mother to attack you. You'll have legal protection, access to resources, and it shows everyone that this isn't some fling, that we're committed. Julian, that's insane, is it? We love each other. We're going to end up together anyway. Why not make it official? Because we've known each other for 6 weeks. Because we're in the middle of a war with your family. Because marriage should be about love, not strategy. It is about love, Julian insisted. Everything I do is about love. About keeping you safe. About building a life with you. Emma stared at him, seeing the desperation in his eyes, and something inside her cracked. You're not listening to me. I'm telling you this is too much, too fast, and your solution is to make it more? I'm trying to protect you. I don't need protection. I need a partner who understands that sometimes love means slowing down, not speeding up. Julian released her, stepping back. So what do you want from me? I want you to stop trying to fix everything with grand gestures. I want you to actually listen when I say I'm struggling. And I want you to understand that marrying you right now would feel like a business transaction, not a commitment. The words hit Julian hard. He sank onto the couch, his head in his hands. I'm doing everything wrong, aren't I? Emma sat beside him, taking his hand. You're trying. That's what matters. But we need to slow down. Figure out how to be together without it feeling like we're at war with the entire world. What if we can't? Then maybe we weren't meant to be. Julian looked at her, and Emma saw fear she'd never seen before. Real, raw terror at the thought of losing her. I can't lose you, he whispered. Then fight smarter, not harder. Talk to your mother. Really talk to her. Find out what she's actually afraid of. She's afraid of losing control. No, she's afraid of losing you. Just like you're afraid of losing me. Julian absorbed this, seeing the truth in it. When did you get so wise? I've had a lot of practice dealing with difficult family dynamics. They sat in silence for a while, holding each other, knowing that the hardest part was still ahead. The next day, Julian requested a meeting with his mother. Emma insisted on coming with him, despite Julian's protests. They met in Catherine's office, a gleaming space overlooking the city. Emma, Catherine said coolly, I'm surprised you're still here. I thought the media attention would have scared you off by now. I don't scare easily, Emma replied, her voice steady. Catherine's eyes narrowed. Then you're a fool. Do you have any idea what being with my son will cost you? About the same as it's costing him to be with me. Everything that used to define him. The observation seemed to catch Catherine off guard. She looked at Julian, really looked at him, and something shifted in her expression. You really love her, Catherine said quietly. More than anything. Even more than the company? Yes. Catherine was quiet for a long moment. Then she did something Emma never expected. She laughed. Not cruelly, but with genuine bitter amusement. You're just like your father. He gave up everything for me once too. Walked away from his family's expectations, his arranged marriage, all of it, and I loved him for it. Her voice turned sad, until the pressure of building something from nothing destroyed us both. I'm not Dad, Julian said. And Emma isn't you. No, she's stronger than I ever was. Catherine looked at Emma directly. I've been trying to break you, to buy you off, to scare you away, but you're still here. Because I love your son, and because running away never solved anything. Catherine stood, walking to the window. If I step aside, let Julian keep his position, will you promise me something? Depends on what it is, Emma said cautiously. Don't let him become like me. Don't let the business turn him cold and calculating. Keep him human. Emma felt her throat tighten. That's all I've ever wanted to do. Catherine turned back, and for the first time, Emma saw vulnerability in her eyes. I lost my son years ago. To expectations, to pressure, to my own need for control. Maybe it's time I gave him back. Mom, Julian said, his voice breaking. I'll call an emergency board meeting. Reinstate you as CEO, but on one condition. What condition? You bring Emma into the company. Make her part of this world properly. Show me that love and business can coexist, because your father and I never figured it out. Julian looked at Emma, questioning. She nodded slowly. Deal, Julian said. After they left Catherine's office, Emma was shaking. Did that really just happen? I think my mother just gave us her blessing. In the most twisted way possible. What does she mean, bring me into the company? Julian stopped walking, turning to face her. She means make you a part of my world. Let you see all of it, the good and the ugly, and maybe learn how to merge our lives instead of keeping them separate. I'm a nurse, Julian. I don't know anything about running $1 billion company. You know about people, about compassion, about staying human under pressure. That's exactly what Blackstone Industries needs. Emma felt overwhelmed. This is moving so fast, I know. And you're right, we should slow down. But Emma, I need you to know something. He took her hands, his eyes intense. I'm going to ask you to marry me again. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday when the timing is right, when you're ready. And I'm going to spend every day until then proving that I'm worth the risk. Emma felt tears slide down her cheeks. You already are. Then say you'll stay. Say we'll figure this out together. I'll stay. We'll figure it out. They kissed in the middle of the Blackstone Industries lobby, surrounded by employees who would soon be gossiping about it. But for once, Emma didn't care about appearances or expectations or what the world thought. She had Julian, and together they had a chance. But that night, as Emma slept in Julian's arms, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. You think you've won, but Julian is keeping something from you, something that will destroy everything. Ask him about the contract, about what he signed the day before he met you. Then you'll see who he really is. Emma stared at the text, her heart pounding. She looked at Julian's sleeping face, peaceful and unguarded. And she wondered if she'd just made the biggest mistake of her life by trusting him. The truth and the choice, Emma couldn't sleep. The text message burned in her mind, each word a poison she couldn't swallow or spit out. At 3 a.m., she carefully extracted herself from Julian's arms and went to his office. The contract. What contract? She found his laptop on the desk, closed but not locked. Her hands trembled as she opened it. She knew this was a violation of trust, but the text had planted a seed of doubt that was growing roots in her chest. His email was already open. She typed contract into the search bar. Dozens of results appeared. Business deals, client agreements, nothing unusual. Then she saw it. An email from Julian Blackstone, dated the day before Emma met Julian. The subject line read, Agreement finalized. Emma clicked it open. Julian, attached is the signed agreement regarding your arrangement with Victoria Hartwell. The press will be informed of your reconciliation next month, with an engagement announcement to follow. This merger will secure Blackstone Industries' position for the next generation. I'm proud of you for finally putting family first. Mother. The attachment was a legal document. Emma's vision blurred as she read it. Julian had signed a contract agreeing to reunite with Victoria, to stage a relationship, to eventually marry her. The timeline suggested they would announce the engagement right around now. In exchange, he would maintain his position as CEO and receive a $3 billion trust fund. The document was signed and notarized, the day before he walked into that emergency room. Emma felt like she was falling through space. Every kiss, every promise, every moment of vulnerability replayed in her mind with new context. Had any of it been real, or had she been a distraction, a rebellion, a way for Julian to feel human before returning to his gilded cage? Emma, she turned. Julian stood in the doorway, his face going pale as he saw what was on the screen. I can explain, he said. Explain what? That you were planning to marry Victoria the entire time you were falling in love with me? Emma's voice was remarkably steady, considering her world was shattering. That contract means nothing. I never intended to go through with it. Then why did you sign it? Julian ran his hands through his hair, his expression anguished. because at the time I had no reason not to. I was empty, Emma. I'd spent my entire life doing what was expected of me. One more contract, one more arrangement, what did it matter? And then you met me. And then I met you, and everything changed. I was going to tell my mother I wouldn't honor the contract, but then she started threatening you, and everything spiraled out of control. Emma stood up, wrapping her arms around herself. You let me think you gave up everything for me. Your position, your fortune, your family's approval, but you had a safety net the whole time. You could have gone back to Victoria, claimed it was all a mistake, and gotten everything back. I would never do that. How do I know? How do I know any of this was real? Emma's voice finally broke. You signed that contract and then came to the hospital with a fake injury to meet me. Tell me that's not true. Julian's silence was answer enough. Oh my God, Emma whispered. The cut on your hand. You did that on purpose. I wanted to see you again. I didn't know how else. So you hurt yourself? Manipulated me into treating you? Julian, that's not romantic, that's disturbed. I know it was wrong, but Emma, I was desperate. After that first night in the ER, I couldn't stop thinking about you. I'd never felt anything like that before. So yes, I cut myself. I came back. And I fell in love with you for real. How am I supposed to believe that? Because I'm here. Because I walked away from that contract. From billions of dollars. From everything I was raised to want. Because I chose you over all of it. Emma laughed bitterly. You didn't walk away. You made a dramatic exit at a gala, knowing the media would eat it up. You turned our relationship into a spectacle. And now I'm wondering if that was calculated too, if you knew that public declaration would make it harder for your mother to force you back into the contract. Julian flinched like she'd struck him. That's not fair. None of this is fair. You lied to me, Julian. By omission. By manipulation. By making me think I was choosing something real when really I was just a plot twist in your family drama. You're more than that. You're everything to me. Am I? Or am I just the first person who made you feel something? What happens when the novelty wears off? When real life gets boring and messy and I'm not the exciting rebellion anymore? That will never happen. You don't know that. Hell, I don't even know if you're capable of real love, or if you're just so good at playing roles that you've convinced yourself this is real. The accusation hung between them, brutal and raw. Julian's face crumpled, and Emma saw something in his eyes that terrified her. Not anger, but resignation, like he'd been waiting for this moment, expecting it. You're right, he said quietly. Emma froze. What? You're right. I don't know if I'm capable of real love. I've spent my whole life performing, calculating, manipulating situations to get what I want. Maybe that's all this is. Maybe I'm so broken that I can't tell the difference between love and obsession. Julian. But I need you to know something. His voice was steady now, almost calm. Whether this is real love or just the closest I can get to it, you've changed me. You've made me want to be better, want to be worthy of someone like you. And if you walk away right now, I'll understand. I'll deserve it, but I'll spend the rest of my life trying to become the man you believed I could be. Emma felt tears streaming down her face. I don't know if I can trust you. I know. I don't know if any of this was real. I know. I don't know if loving you is brave or stupid. Probably both. Despite everything, Emma almost laughed. She looked at Julian, really looked at him, and saw not the billionaire or the manipulator or the romantic hero. Just a broken man trying desperately to be whole. I'm going home, she said finally. To my apartment, to my family, to my life. And you're going to stay here and figure out who you are without me. How long? I don't know. Maybe forever. Julian's jaw tightened, but he nodded. If that's what you need. It is. Emma walked to the door, then paused. For what it's worth, I do think you love me. In your own damaged, complicated way. I just don't know if that's enough. She left before he could respond. The next 3 months were the hardest of Emma's life. She threw herself into work, picking up extra shifts, avoiding anything that reminded her of Julian. The media eventually moved on to other scandals. Julian Blackstone reinstated Julian as CEO, but appointed a co-chair to oversee his decisions. Victoria married a European banker and moved to London. Emma's family slowly recovered. Her mother found a new job. Her brother graduated college. Her sister started therapy, and Emma learned to breathe again without the weight of Julian's world pressing down on her. but she missed him. God, she missed him in ways that made her ache. She missed his laugh, his intensity, the way he looked at her like she was the answer to every question he'd ever asked. One evening, coming home from a particularly brutal shift, Emma found an envelope taped to her door. No name, no return address. Inside was a single piece of paper. I've been in therapy 3 times a week. I've cut ties with the parts of my business that required moral compromise. I've started a foundation for healthcare workers, funded anonymously, because you taught me that helping people shouldn't be about recognition. I'm learning to be better. Not for you, but because of you. I love you. I will always love you. But I understand if that's not enough. Julian? Emma held the letter, crying in her apartment's narrow hallway. She thought about trust and love and second chances. About whether people could really change, or if they were doomed to repeat their patterns. Her phone rang. Unknown number, hello? Emma Rodriguez? A woman's voice, professional and crisp, yes? My name is Dr. Sarah Chen. I'm Julian Blackstone's therapist. I'm calling because he's given me permission to speak with you. And there's something you should know. Emma's heart raced. Is he okay? Physically, yes. Mentally, he's struggling, but he's doing the work. He's confronting trauma he spent 30 years avoiding. And Emma, I need you to understand something. What he feels for you is real. It may be messy and complicated, but it's the first genuine emotional connection he's ever had. That doesn't obligate you to anything, but I thought you deserved to know. After hanging up, Emma sat for a long time, staring at the letter. She thought about risk and safety, about building walls or tearing them down, about whether love was worth the inevitable pain it brought. Then she picked up her phone and typed a message. I'm not ready to come back, but I'm willing to talk, really talk, if you are. Julian's response came immediately. Anytime, anywhere. I'll wait as long as it takes. 6 months later, Emma and Julian met for coffee. They talked for 4 hours about therapy, about mistakes, about what they'd learned in their time apart. It wasn't easy. Emma had conditions, boundaries, expectations. Julian met every single one. They started over slowly. Coffee dates turned into dinners. Dinners turned into weekend trips. Emma met Julian's therapist and insisted on couples counseling. Julian supported Emma's decision to go back to school for her nurse practitioner degree, funding it without making her feel indebted. They learned to fight fairly, to communicate without manipulation, to love each other without losing themselves. 2 years after they met, Julian proposed again. Not with a dramatic gesture or a public declaration, but quietly, in Emma's apartment, with a simple ring he'd designed himself. I'm still broken in some ways, he said. I still mess up, but I'm trying every day to be worthy of you. Will you marry me? Emma looked at the man who had turned her world upside down, who had challenged everything she thought she knew about love and risk and trust. Yes, she said, but we're doing this my way. Small wedding, just family, no media circus. Julian laughed, pulling her close. Whatever you want, always. They got married in her mother's backyard, surrounded by the people who mattered. Julian wore a simple suit. Emma wore a dress she'd bought herself. It was messy and imperfect and absolutely perfect. As they danced their first dance to music playing from someone's phone, Emma whispered in Julian's ear, I'm still scared sometimes, that you'll revert to who you were. Me too, Julian admitted, but I think that's okay. Being scared means it matters. It does matter. You matter, so do you. More than anything, they swayed together as the sun set. 2 broken people who had found each other in an emergency room and decided that love, despite its risks and complications and inevitable pain, was worth fighting for. Years later, when people asked Emma how she knew Julian was the one, she would think about that first night, about a billionaire asking a nurse if getting an injection would hurt, about vulnerability and trust and the question that had changed both their lives. I didn't know, she would say. Not right away, but I learned. And that was enough, the end.